after scanning in the supine position like this. And one thing very important is that you should move the focus, adjust the focus at the level of the kidney, and also you should adjust the time change compensation as the near gain and far gain. You should adjust that. And usually the right knee can be done in supine position, but if you need, you can add position a little right side of like this. Then maybe you can see the kidney better, and you can adjust the depth like this one, and zoom in and zoom out do that. And if there is a problem in the rib sharing like this one, you can avoid that by moving the transducer. And now you can try to get the maximum the cervical heat like this one, and then forward press on the chest. Yes, you can breathe, and you can measure the distance from the upper part to the lower end. Now the length is around the 10 centimeter, and in that length depends on the patient's body habit, and it is usually between 9 centimeters to 10 centimeters. That is the usual normal range. It is smaller than that, 9 centimeters, or bigger than 30, definitely you can say your kidney is small or not. And now probably you can see a little bit lobulation of the outline of the kidney. I think that is probably not due to the chronic infection like Dr. Waters talked. I think it's quite regular indentation, so probably that is a fetal lobulation. And also you can differentiate between renal cortex and renal medulla. And now here is the renal portion, and has the equidensity, and picture with this portion is a little bit higher equidensity than usual. Let's look at the portion more carefully, and this portion has the hyperequidensity, and in that case probably the color Doppler ultrasound may be helpful, and color Doppler is that one, and that again. I can see the flows are very well, and you do not see any abnormal vascularity in the area. So I think that is just the renal sinus fat. Yes, so I think that we do not have any problem in that area. Yes, I think that is probably the renal cancer system. I don't know what is the filling status of this patient. Now the bladder of this patient is very full, full bladder. This area of the calcium prominence is no problem on this right side, and now And for the left kidney, usually we cannot get the active imaging with the patient supine, so that's why we usually have the patient left side up like this, and also you can avoid rib shadowing by the adjusting transmitter direction, and can you get deep breath? Deep breath and hold it. Deep breath and hold, deep breath and hold it. Okay, please hold it. Okay. So with the patient position, and the breath inspiration, and you can get the full length of the kidney also, and you can measure that and from the upper capsular. Again, the right has no problem, and so this is also in our cortex, in our nebula, and also you can see some the cavitous system in the renal sinus area is the linear, the anechoic area, and this is colored up here. And now you can clearly see the vessels from the segmental artery, interlobar artery, and the arcuate artery is around there, and topical you can see interlobar artery also. When you try to get Doppler spectrum, usually the best position to get Doppler spectrum is that interlobar artery level. And can you photograph a little bit? Yeah, hold it, and now, yeah, straight. Yeah, now you can get clear Doppler spectrum here, okay, and you can measure the resisting index from the peak systole and the end diastole, and now the resisting index is coming around 0.6. The definite normal resisting index. Usually if it is higher than 0.7, you can say this is an increase. And also in this left kidney, probably you can see the lobulation of the regular lobulation outline. So here the that shape of kidney on both sides, that is definitely a fetal lobulation. And we put you do not see any focal lesion, and so this is technically no abnormal finding. And let's see the left renal vein, because in the first talk I mentioned about the nutcracker syndrome. This patient is not very, so maybe not easy to get the stomach is not empty, and it may not be easy to I can push that. Okay, don't. Okay, and in this patient, probably the dilation of the left renal vein is not possible in this bowel filling, and people, I think it will not be easy. Here's the probably the aorta, then the artery, probably the left renal vein is around here. I think around here, and by rotating one technical tip I mentioned is if you want to measure this, I think this is the aorta, this is the artery, and the left luminal vein is around here. So if you want to measure the velocity here, you will take the transducer to counterclockwise, that make the angle adjust. Now this is Doppler angle, and in this supine position, this Doppler angle is usually the 90 degrees. So we'll keep the transducer to the counterclockwise, and then you follow the left luminal vein and adjust the Doppler angle in this direction. Now the Doppler angle becomes better and better. And the other thing you should do is enlarge the sample volume to cover the left luminal vein and between proceeding vessels. And then now the probably now you can see that this is the aorta precision, and probably you can see some the venous signal in the below the big line, and that is the venous signal from left luminal vein. And if you measure that, this is the 39 is the normal range. So we can say that this patient does not have a nutcracker phenomenon. So it's a normal left luminal venous flow proportion. If this velocity is higher than 80, then you can suspect nutcracker. Yes, of course.
This is the left upper quadrant area over the left upper for the mid axial line. There's a face, the left kidney. The outline of the left kidney is smooth. The central sinus is very delineated. There's no remarkable organic lesion or ecogenic stone or hypernephrosis. And the size of the left kidney is normal. I believe it's more than 10 cm in diameter. The renal parenchyma thickness is also normal for the left side. Inside the middle to the left kidney, you could appreciate the left exposed muscle and also the intervertebral disc and the vertebra with a curvilinear structure. This left kidney, no congenital anomaly, no organic lesion, and this is clean. You could appreciate also from this area, the outer, at the lower part, far away from the user, you could see the outer. So in this view, you could also check whether there is aneurysm or dilatation of outer. Okay, right, great. I'm showing, this is the area showing here is the left side source master. And this is the left kidney. And this is the outer. And you could appreciate this echogenic continuous structure that is the outer border of the vertebra or lumbar spine. Anyhow, all the structure looks normal, no significant abnormality. The left kidney is okay. It seems to be no activity in life. The patient is 32 years old. He has a chief complaint of pain. There's no fever. And this right side lobe liver. You can check the lower body here, covering the spine. But this area, normally, there should be kidney. Now I ask the patient to have the left side defibrillated position or left semi-defibrillated position for easy to scan for the right side kidney. I could not completely find the right kidney. Whenever there is no kidney in the normal area, check over the patient, if the patient has any surgery or not. And there is no any scarring. So maybe there is no history of surgery or nephrectomy. When you cannot find a normal kidney, if there is no surgical history or nephrectomy history, maybe it could be due to congenital absence of kidney. Or you can consider sometimes very severe chronic nephritis, chronic pyelonephritis, but kidney becomes so small, you cannot identify that way. The other is so-called congenital agenesis kidney. If there is no history, of course, we have to consider whether the kidney is located outside the normal area, so-called ectopic kidney. For the normal kidney in the retroperitoneum, certainly you could approach to the mid or interaction line, you could avoid the gas. But if the kidney is ectopic, if it is in the pelvis, sometimes you have to slowly try to discover the kidney. Sometimes maybe obscure like all there. There is shows hypoelectric structure, but you are not definitely sure that there is a container of the central sinus, right? I think there is something abnormal. So in such a situation, firstly, of course, you have to consider whether that is ectopic kidney or not. Sometimes patients after renal transplantation also easily the kidney was located in the pelvis. But if ectopic is somewhat smaller, the bladder is slightly distinct. This should be the ectopic kidney in the center. Right. Sure, empty. Right. Yeah. Usually, ectopic kidney generally different in orientation. Right. Map rotation. And not every ectopic kidney you could clearly demonstrate the so-called central site. But anyhow, there is the abnormal soft tissue over that area. Also, you have to consider the pelvic kidney. Okay. The kind of. All right. The key point is whenever you cannot see the normal peak at the normal area, check the history, make a differential diagnosis.
Thank you, Professor Kim and Wan, for the demonstration. Now we are in the third part of today's session. This session will be held on obstetric ultrasound. And the first lecture of this session is on diagnosis and monitoring of early and late onset of IUGR. The speaker is Professor Hyuk-In Liang from Hong Kong. Nowadays we know it's a great challenge for sonographists to diagnose or monitor IUGR by ultrasonography. So let's learn and enjoy the lecture. Please, Professor Liang. He is Professor of Gynecology and Obstetrics, expert in fetal heart ultrasound, fetal anomalies, obstetric ultrasound, gynecological ultrasound, and he is President of Hong Kong Society of Ultrasound Medicine. Please, Professor Bhuiyan.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the diagnosis and monitoring of the early and the late onset the IUGR. My outline is about the IUGR, or this is the small or decision age, the SGA. And then the differentiate between these two problems. That one is the early onset, the other is late onset IUGR. And then the decision is whether to monitor or to deliver. This is a difficult situation. And then the highlight of which the doctor, ultrasound examination are going to perform for the management. So for the IGR or the newer term is about the fetal growth restriction of the FGR. It is common and it can cause the death, and also the parental mobility, and even about the long-term outcomes, including the neurological and also diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and so on. So the difference between the IGR and the SGA is that the IGR, what we call is the failure of the fetus to achieve its genetic potential in utero. This is a conceptual term. On the other hand, it's the small for just SGA. It's just not necessarily IGR. It just means that the fetus is small. On the ultrasound examination, measure the growth parameter and it's small. So it can be considered small or it's going to age problem. It's not necessarily an IGR. On the other hand, if the IGR that they may not be small, because if we conceptually, the fetus is supposed to be at the 4 kilogram, but it turns out to be 3 kilogram. So conceptually that it is still a IGR because initially it should be 4 kilogram, now it's a 3 kilogram. But 3 kilogram is still an appropriate for gestation age. So that is the conceptual term. So the thing is that the fetal size at birth may not be worried about the effects of different in the sex of the gender or the party, the maternal size and so on. So lots of factors affecting. So the nomogram that they are a bit different. In Hong Kong, I mean here in Bangladesh, the nomogram or the growth parameter is different. So you have used your own local data to generate a nomogram that is suitable for your population. Now that the concept of the IGR is use an integrated approach. Because there's many factors affecting the fetal growth. So it means that not just the small as the IGR. What we think that is that we will consider the fetal size. It is the largest, the good difference is likely to be IGR. It's just more difference it may not be. And the other is the Doppler. So we'll talk about the Doppler later. And also the status of placental health. That also be called. So the fetal size, the Doppler, and the placenta. This is the integrated approach. For the prediction that we can have a lot of parameters to predict. So the previous pregnancy outcome, the present pregnancies and hypertension, the overweight, and also the uterus size, and also you see the Down syndrome screening, the same markers, and also the same growth velocity, the Doppler, and the placenta, and so on. So this is the uterine artery Doppler. This is important now is to check the Doppler and uterine arteries, that this is the normal, that is the normal fold is here. And then the abnormal one is that it's a notch. You can see the down, this is stomach. This is a downward space. You can see a notch over here, this is a notch. So this is a high resistance in the uterine artery. So we expect that in that would be a decrease in the uterine placental growth and then to the fetus and lead to the IGR. So you measure the GI, the post-start index, so it also be high. So that is also significant that it is. So we have the both uterine arteries, the right and the left side. The right is tied to the placenta side, the right placenta, right uterine artery is the high, and also the left and so on. So the ultrasound measurement of the IGL, so usually we measure both the BBD head circumference, AC, and the femoral. So we use a head drop and then to estimate the estimate for fetal weight. The actual fetal weight less than 10%, usually we could take, okay, this is small for gestation age SGA. So the head, abdomen, and femur, and then use a head drop and estimate for the fetal weight. So some would usually use the markers, using the soft tissue and so on. I think that is maybe too difficult. So the definition of IGL, as I said, that they take about the fetal size, the fetal placental health, and also the fetal growth velocity. So that is the integrated approach. Is all take all the parameters in consideration if you are calling about be serious about the definition of IGL. The onset, there's two types. The different type is the early onset and the late onset. The difference is in terms of the gestation. The gestation is less than 34 weeks, we call it an early onset. And then after 34 weeks, we say this is late onset. So it's very clear that this is 34, and then is the difference. So, but the difference about this early onset is that the risk of the abnormal neurological development develops as the umbilical artery. So the important thing is if the umbilical artery is abnormal in the early onset, that is we can certify that it is something abnormal. But for the late onset IGL, say it's 36 weeks, 37 weeks, and then it appears to be the fetus is small, then the umbilical archidopter is less useful than the early onset. So the more you learn is about the middle cerebral artery, we'll talk about later. So the difference that in terms of the management and also the doctor that is clinically useful. So when you said that in clinic, in the ultrasound, that we do that, okay, the fetus is small, so we assess the possible cause. Of course, in the clinical, there's the smoker, drug, hypertension, and also the ultrasound assess the microvolume, the Doppler, and then the fetal anatomical survey to check for the any structural anomalies, and then in the early onset, we will also consider doing the immunosensitive typing or checking the infection. So these are the things that in the early onset IGL. Just like in the 20-week scan, we do the fetus small and the fetal abnormality, then we consider doing the immunosensitive. And if you are going to monitor, it is small and the 30 weeks, and then they think they're not for delivery, we monitor the fetus. Then the monitoring would be the regular fetal parametry, the aortic fluid volume, the Doppler. But the profile is more the time consuming, is not the usual thing that we do. The CTG, cardiotocography, and also because this is nowadays not because it's invasive. So the important things is about is the fetal parametry, the aortic fluid volume, and the Doppler. So these are the main things that they will use in ultrasound monitoring. For the serial monitoring of the parametries, of course you do the both the head, the head circumference, the abdomen circumference, and the femoral and both velocity. Usually every 2 weeks is okay. Less than 2 weeks may not be accurate to determine the difference, small difference. So the multiple measurement by the same observer will be better because you and I will be different in the intelligent version. So it's the same observer may be better. The aortic fluid volume, so some would say that the aortic fluid index, the AFI, so means that the measure the 4 quadrant. But the measure the 4 quadrant it takes time and also is more time consuming, that the more tedious. So some would just use a single pocket. Single deepest pocket is still okay. It's just a rugby is less than 5 centimeter, it is abnormal. So it's just the one, the deepest one that is still okay. If you're serious enough, you measure the 4 quadrant adding and then there is normal one that is also that's okay, checking for that. But the fetal Doppler that you can dock the many arteries, but I think this is most important is still the umbilical artery, the middle cerebral artery, and there's a ductus venosus. Ductus venosus is usually for the early onset. Let's say the 28 weeks, 30 weeks is IGL, then we may use it for the assessment. But for the late onset, usually we need to measure the ductus. The other is, I think, is the not commonly measured. The umbilical artery Doppler is well documented to be useful because it is positive that is usually that is the good outcome, positive and flow, EDF. There's an action that usually that or reverse flow that will get high mortality, IUD, intravenous death, renal death, and so on. So that is well documented. So the umbilical artery Dopplers that usually there will initially there's an increase in the Holstein index, and then later will be absent anti-absorbable, and then the reverse anti-absorbable because the web is the dangerous is the reverse anti-absorbable. So that would be something serious, and then they will use it for the monitoring. So for the umbilical artery Doppler, I mean usually there's some technique. So we have to be free flow. Because if it is something compact, then of course it's a high resistance, so no problem. The free flow, middle portion of the umbilical cord, and large image, they add the counter to see the direction of flow. Adjust the full elimination. That means that if the flow is very high, so it is the user Doppler that is out of range, that is not reliable. And then the Doppler angle is less than 0.5 degrees is the best, and they have the Doppler adjust the size. And then the similar waveform is the 5 to 8 form, and then the fetus to be injected and then happier, and then that will give the good waveform. Just like this, and then you can get this, and then you can do very nice uniform things like that. Using that they will be good because it's the nitro, the active nitro, that means it's not compressed, it is in the people, and then that is it. So this one is it good for the pushing the Doppler? Slow, because it is an aviation. You can see the color because it is out of range. So you have to increase the velocity so that this one is no more aviation, and then that would be better. That you can get the good waveform, and then you can get the better waveform by using this. This is now yes, because the sound is around 40, that the peak velocity that we have to adjust. And then this one is the action anti-circle. You can see that this is the action anti-circle over here. That's the action. But you want to see that because that is so tricky here, because it's just action. But how can you be sure that there is no reverse flow? Because it's the action and reverse of course is the worse than the action. If you want to see that the reverse flow, then you have to, just the technique is to increase the weight, increase the base weight, so that you can capture the brain as well. So not just the artery, but the brain, then you will be able to see this a little bit reverse flow over here. So sometimes this is some occasional variables, or sometimes not intermittent. So you have to adjust this the gauge with the increased size, so that the whole artery and the brain are captured, and then you can get the reverse flow. And also this is where the good thing is that you have to get a parallel of the artery and the brain. Then you will get a better image. And then the second one is probably important is the middle cerebral artery. So middle cerebral arteries, and then again that the target this is the uniform waveform, and then is good. That also we have to get the Doppler is the parallel, nearly 0 degree to the artery, middle cerebral artery. So from this the little gap into the cerebral placental ratio, that is the middle cerebral artery prototype index over the intra-artery placenta, the GI. So this is the ratio, the cerebral placental ratio. It just means that this is the cerebral vessel dilatation. Because for the fetus to adjust, then they will have it is the IGR. So if the IGR, then will be happy. That is the increased size. Okay. So this is the normalized. The other things about is the intra-artery Doppler. The intra-artery Doppler that is that we talk about that is a prediction of the below the IGR. And then the Douglas notice that the that which is the Douglas waveform, and then this is the reverse. Okay, so this is the Douglas notice, that is the something increase, and then it will be Doppler, and then it will be having this kind of mark. This is the showing there. So this is the Douglas notice, that you can see this is the high beat, then you add the Doppler, and then you will show that the waveform here. Okay, because time I think that we will just I think that is the early onset and the late onset. For the early onset, that we will use the Douglas notice as well to check for that, and then the CDG, and then to monitor. For the late onset, we will use the umbilical artery and also the middle cerebral artery to see whether it helps the management. So in conclusion, that it is important to differentiate between the IGR and SCA, and the normal grant is the population base, and individual approach. I think the early onset, that the also screen for the infection and health typing, and then the IGR one string is scanned every 2 and 3 weeks, and then it is rotate, then it continue, and then the scan weekly is for the IGM use, or the abnormal umbilical artery Doppler, and then for the medium it is really abnormal, and that's very determined that we also assess the Douglas notice and the target model. So we also assess the intra-artery to also assess the placental size. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Liang, for a very nice and informative lecture on IGR. Our next topic is Assessment of Fetal Skeletal System by Professor Sudhir Gokhale. Already we know him, Professor Gokhale.
So what I will try to attempt in the next 20 minutes or so is to talk about how do we go about assessing or attempting diagnosis of fetal skeletal dysplasias. It's a complex problem. It involves various different unrelated abnormalities, and therefore we have to understand how common is the problem. What do the anomalies look like? We try to put them into certain categories by pattern recognition, and then we'll go about how systematically to approach diagnosis of skeletal dysplasia. They are a heterogeneous group of conditions associated with abnormalities of the skeleton, including abnormalities of bone shape, size, density, that manifest into abnormalities of the limb, chest and skull. So these are the areas which we are going to basically focus upon. They are caused by a widespread disturbance of bone growth beginning during the early stage of fetal development and evolving through the life due to active gene involvement. Classification has evolved over the last 3 decades. If you go back and you see that every 10 years you will find a new classification of skeletal dysplasias. Of these, about 50 are identifiable at birth. They are of particular importance because they may be detected on antenatal scans. So there is a huge number of different types of skeletal abnormalities. We can't really hope of diagnosing each and individual of them. So we try to focus on more common abnormalities. If you look at the birth prevalence of skeletal dysplasias, some of them are more common, like thanatophoric or achondrogenesis, osteogenesis imperfecta, chondrodysplasia punctata, and camptomatic dysplasia. We have some data from South India and South and North India more recently, and I think probably in Bangladesh also the incidence would be more or less similar to what we find in our South Indian population. So we have this osteosis, the FGFR3 gene group, particularly achondroplasia, thanatophoric dysplasia, and for some reason osteogenesis imperfecta is also fairly common in our North and South Indian population, as is acondroplasia dysplasia. So we'll try and summarize the findings of various groups. It appears that thanatophoric dysplasia, osteogenesis imperfecta, and achondroplasia are probably the commonest skeletal dysplasias that we find in our population. So we look at how they appear on ultrasound, particularly the commoner types. I talk only about that. So type 1 thanatophoric dysplasia shows very short, long bones. That's the first thing we notice. And these bones are not only short, but they are also bowed. So we call them telephone receiver type of short, long bones. The ribs are also very short, and that produces a very small and narrow thorax as compared to the fetal abdomen. And you might get a depressed bridge of nose, and sometimes there is polyarrhythmia in these fetuses also. So that's dysplasia type 1. So you have these short, long bones which might or might not show growing at the time of examination. The bone might sometimes develop a little later, and there may be polyarrhythmia. That's the typical telephone receiver fever that we see in this particular fetus. And then we also can find plaque spondylia, and it's not very difficult for us to appreciate when you do a sagittal scan of spine to see that the intervertebral space is longer than the height of the individual vertebrae. So you can compare the height of the vertebrae to intervertebral space, and if this is more, you start suspecting that we are dealing with plaque spondylia. The thorax is small because of short ribs, and you can do a thorax abdominal circumference ratio to figure that out, and that's what we do on a post-natal radiograph. We have all the findings that we saw in prenatal sonography. The type 2 thanatophoric dysplasia is classically would display an abnormality of the shape of the skull in the form of a clover leaf skull, in addition to short long bones and the buoy. Achondrogenesis is second most common lethal skeletal dysplasia. It shows severe micromelia, macrocranium, small thorax, and reduced mineralization, as the term achondrogenesis tells us that the bone formation is what is wrong with these babies. So the bones are not hard, they are not well ossified bones. So when you are seeing this typical section of the head where we measure our EPD, you will appreciate that the bones don't look as echogenic as we normally see. The facial bones are well formed here, but the cavalier bones don't show good ossification, and particularly the spine does not show as good ossification as we would expect. You can even see that the ribs are showing fairly good ossification, but the spine is fairly deficient in ossification at this stage. So there is poor ossification. Also, these bones are soft. So if you are examining this fetus a little later in our second trimester anomaly scan, we can simply compress with your probe, and you will show that you can deform this head, but these bones are soft. They are not well formed, strong bones, and because they don't contain enough calcium, there is good through transmission. So many times the first thing that strikes your eye is that you can see a great detail of little brain that you don't normally see when you do a DPD section. So you start seeing these details of the brain that tells you that the bone is not very well ossified. So you have a very good through transmission. You compress on that head, you are able to deform that head. That tells you that this is not a very well ossified fetal skull. And that's what happens in achondrogenesis. And you might have microglanthia there with the mandible, which is much behind the maxilla, and the thorax is very, very small as compared to the abdomen. That's a very common finding in a lot of skeletal dysplasia. It's not very specific. You see a very short femur, and very often we are able to we follow this femur to foot length ratio. And if this femur to foot length ratio is abnormal, that is one way of calling that these long bones are short. If you don't have a nomogram right at your hand, you can do a femur to foot length ratio and figure out that these bones are short. So there is another fetus where we find that on nomograms, all the long bones, the head growth is fairly within the normal range, but the long bone length is at less than 3rd percentile or less than 5th percentile, telling us that these are all short bones. Osteogenesis imperfecta is a group of 2-3 different phenotypes. So you have type 1 and 4, which show little or no bone shortening and are usually not lethal. So they are sometimes we are not able to pick them up on antenatal scans. Type 2 and 3 are more severe. They are usually lethal with moderate to severe bone shortening, and they are consistently picked up from antenatal scans because the bones are very short, they are very brittle. This is an autosomal recessive, so that means there is in both of these types a different pattern of inheritance. Type 2 is most often diagnosed on antenatal scans because, as I said, there is a severe shortening. Not only shortening, but because of the less mineral content, these bones are brittle and they break easily, so you are able to find fractures of these bones on antenatal scans, and the thorax is also short. Here again I can see that the head is less ossified. This is a long bone which you can see is already fractured, so you start suspecting osteogenesis imperfecta type 2 in the bones which are deformed. You might not see a defect, but the bone shows an angle that tells you that this is a fractured bone with a significant acute angle there. The thorax is short, the abdomen is protruding. This fetus has already developed hydrops. You can see some ascites in that. If you have a volume scan where you can see the ribs in en plan or en face, you can see that because of the fractures, these ribs have a slightly beaded appearance. That's also very common with type 2 osteogenesis imperfecta. So here I have a fetus with very short limbs, with very short long bones and bones which are showing fractures. So this is osteogenesis imperfecta type 2. And in these also, because the mineralization is very poor, you can deform the fetal head by foundation. That's very easy to show. For some reason, this the shortening affects femur length rather than humerus length in type 2 osteogenesis imperfecta. You find that if you compare the long bone lengths in the same fetus, the humerus length may be fairly normal, but the femur length is severely short. In catamenic dysplasia, you have shortening and marked anterior bowing of the long bones, particularly the femur and tibia. So the leg bones show an anterior bowing. There is a flat facial profile, there is micrognathia, the chest is very narrow, there is scoliosis, and there may be club feet in this fetus. So there is a significant anterior bowing, particularly affecting the femur and the tibia. The upper limb bones may be short, but they might not show any bowing. So if you find a differential bowing in the upper and lower limb bones, then you might think of catamenic dysplasia. So that was a typical telephone receiver femur with a normal non-bowed but short humerus in that fetus. Suddenly you have micrognathia that can be easily picked up on sagittal scans, a very narrow thorax there, and bilateral club feet, which is also very common in these babies. Again, here another fetus with tibia. The femur is slightly bowed, but the tibia shows a marked anterior bowing as well as shortening, while the bowing does not affect the humerus of this fetus. Chondrodysplasia punctata is a group of various disorders characterized by calcific stippling of the epiphysis seen on radiographs, and the same thing we can see on antenatal ultrasound as well. The autosomal recessive pattern is due to alteration in peroxysmol metabolism. X-linked dominant type is associated with abnormal cholesterol biosynthesis. The epiphyseal calcific stippling is also seen in certain other conditions as well, like an exposure to drugs like warfarin. So you have a patient with warfarin or hydralazine syndrome. The appearance of epiphysis might be similar to chondrodysplasia punctata. So here we have these long bones, and then you see these punctate ossifications. So you find typically 2-3 echogenic spots instead of a single ossification spot in place of the epiphysis that we normally see. Achondroplasia is again a fairly common viable short-limb dysplasia. Most of them are by a common mutation of the GFR3 gene. It's a late onset limb shortening. That is a problem with achondroplasia, that at our usual time of anomaly scans at 18 to 20 weeks, the scan might remain absolutely normal. Your biometry may be within normal range. And later on, this shortening becomes more apparent. So a lot of achondroplasia are missed on our routine anomaly scan time unless we follow them up and see that there is a typical shortening. We have a relative macrocephaly. The fingers are very short and stubby. The chest is small, and the usually is again polyacrylamia. So you have frontal bossing with depressed bridge of nose. The fingers are very short and stubby. The chest is narrow with a protuberant abdomen that is fairly well visible on our volume scan. So because it's a typical phenotype of achondroplasia, if you do a volume scan, that frontal bossing and very short stubby limbs and fingers becomes very obvious. But as I said, this becomes more apparent in later part of the pregnancy, so it might not be very obvious in earlier part of the pregnancy. So this was about the more commoner types of skeletal abnormalities and the phenotypes and how we recognize them on site. Well, but this, as I said, is a huge heterogeneous group. So trying to diagnose skeletal dysplasia can be very challenging. Ultrasound findings are not necessarily pathognomonic of a specific disorder. Very often we are not able to pinpoint that this type of skeletal dysplasia is there on antenatal scans, and we have to resort to postnatal radiographs and molecular examinations to finally come to a final diagnosis. So what is the aim of prenatal scans is that we try to differentiate known lethal disorders from non-lethal disorders, so some prognostication is possible. We can provide some differential diagnosis looking at the phenotype that this could be this type of skeletal dysplasia, and that might help us in post-delivery management. So that's our aim. So how do we approach towards that is we look at the family history and the description of the phenotype, as many disorders are inherited. So always ask the family history if there is anybody with a short stature, with very short limbs in the family, how do they look like. If there is a photograph, some of the patients can bring a photograph that, okay, my sister looks like this, and that might be your clue that what type of anomaly we are looking at. And then an organized comprehensive fetal examination is always required to answer. First, to say whether there is a skeletal dysplasia, and the next important question is whether it is lethal or is not lethal, and we will see how we go about it. So in a lot of instances, skeletal dysplasias are diagnosed as a chance finding. Although there is some autosomal recessive and autosomal dominant inheritance in some of them, but a lot of them are de novo. So there is no previous history available, and your examination, your biometry prompts you that there may be a skeletal dysplasia involved. So routine biometry, we will do a DPDM, we will do a femur length measurement, and the discrepancy poses the question whether this femur is short. And then you should ask yourself whether this is an isolated or there are other features associated with this. So a lot of examinations start with finding a short femur, and that we must understand that finding a short femur is not a marker only for skeletal dysplasia. It may simply be mistaken dates, it may be a constitutionally small fetus, what Dr. Lewin was talking about, an IUGR, it may be skeletal dysplasia, chromosomal anomaly, or a syndromic anomaly. So just finding that the femur is short, you can appreciate that the femur is shorter than tibia, does not necessarily put this with a label that this is a skeletal dysplasia. You have to do a systematic survey of all the long bones, and then you will realize that it is only the femur that is short in this particular fetus. The right femur is absolutely normal in length. So we are dealing with a focal femoral hypoplasia in this particular case, and not really a skeletal diffuse skeletal dysplasia. So from there our examination should extend to rest. So when presence of a short femur is detected, a detailed survey of the long bones, the chest size and the rib length, the examination of hands and feet, examination of skull, and examination of spine is a must to give us the full information. So in the long bone, we'll look for whether all the long bones are there, whether their growth is normal, what is the shape, whether they are curved or they are short, or the ossification of these bones is normal or it is normal. That's what we'll see. So if they are short and bowed, we know that they are normal. And we'll always measure the femur foot length ratio and normal femur foot length ratio. Normally they are more or less of the same length throughout gestation. So if this falls short of 0.8, we say this is an abnormally short femur, and then we can be more certain. In the thorax, we look at the shape, look at the circumference, because if the ribs are short, the circumference is going to be small. And we'll also try to look at the fetal clavicles and scapula, because they will give us an idea whether we are dealing with a particular syndrome like a cleidocranial dysplasia or a SRPS or something like that. So In the thorax, we are looking for a short thorax. We are looking for short ribs that do not go beyond half the circumference of the thorax, and therefore they produce a very small thorax. And you can do a thorax to abdominal circumference ratio, and it should not be less than 0.8. Again, that's a good cutoff point to tell you that this is a significantly abnormal thorax to abdominal circumference ratio there. And then we'll look for the clavicles and we'll look for the scapula. These are the clavicles, these are the scapulae, are easily seen on our axial scans. And then we'll look for the hands and feet to find if there is polydactyly, which is common with syndromes like SRPS, or if there is syndactyly, clinodactyly, or there is club hand or foot. If it affects only one part of the limb, like a radial ray defect, and that's common with syndromes like Holt-Oram syndrome, or you can see if there are more than the normal 5 fingers in this foot or hand, and whether it is the extra finger is near the little finger or thumb, telling you that this is a pre-axial or post-axial polydactyly, and then whether there is club feet. And in the end, we looked at the spine to assess the total length, the curvature to exclude scoliosis, and mineralization to find if the spine is well mineralized. And then, as I said, compare the vertical heights. If the spine is short, we are probably dealing with the spine ends at the thoracolumbar junction. There is no lumbar or sacral spine, so we are only dealing with caudal regression rather than a skeletal dysplasia in this particular situation. If you have a scoliosis, you are only dealing with a open neural tube defect or a vertebral malformation. But if there is hypomineralization, if the spine is well formed but it is hypomineralized, or if there is platy spondyly, then probably we are dealing with some sort of skeletal dysplasia there. And then we will look at the skull, the shape of the skull, the size of the skull, whether there is frontal bossing, whether there are cloverleaf shape of the skull, whether the mandible is of normal shape or there is retro or micro gratia. So in sagittal sections or on a volume scan, we are able to appreciate this frontal bossing and depressed bridge of nose, that's very obvious. And the cloverleaf skull, when we do our DPT scans and angle, should look for information. So after doing this skeletal survey, we are in a position to tell whether there is or there is no skeletal dysplasia, depending on whether the bones are short, whether they are bowed, whether they are fractured, whether the thorax is short, or whether we have macrocrania or cloverleaf skull, or whether there is a problem with mineralization. And obviously we'll be doing postnatal radiographs and molecular studies and sometimes an autopsy to reach a final diagnosis. So we need to remember certain patterns that are common for certain types. If there is a shortening, all the long bones are short, we call this micromelia, and that is common with a certain group of abnormalities. If the proximal long bone is shorter, the distal long bone is normal, we call this rhizomelia, and it's common with thanatophoric or chondrodysplasia. If the distal long bone is short, but the proximal long bone is normal in length, then that may be a mesomelic dysplasia or a cardiofacial problem. So we have this pattern recognition by looking at the short limbs and hypomineralization, common for osteogenesis imperfecta, hypophosphatasia, hypoplasia. Short limbs and short thorax in this, but remember that there is a lot of overlap. It's not that if you find polydactyly you are dealing with a small figures or a SRPS. So we look at the head and we first determine whether this is microcephaly or macrocephaly. If it is irregular in shape, then that is more characteristic. If it is large head, that can be common with 2-3 different types of anomalies, and that's the way we approach. And then finally we have to also figure out whether this skeletal dysplasia is lethal or non-lethal, and that will depend on how the thorax is short, whether it is allowing the lungs to develop properly or the lungs are not developing properly. And as I said, we can do a femur length to abdominal circumference ratio. If this is less than 0.16, that is significantly abnormal to show that our long bones are significantly short. And then we do a thoracic circumference nomogram check, whether it is below 5th percentile, telling you that this is a very short thorax, and compare that with the fetal abdomen, because the abdomen gets protuberant, the thorax gets short. So this ratio comes in very well. We have certain nomograms. We can do lungs area measurements and lung volume measurements, which are much more complicated. People have tried doing lung volume measurements on MRI also, but that's also not very easy. But these ratios are fairly simple and that we can do in our day-to-day practice, and they yield more or less the same sensitivity about that. So our approach whenever we suspect a skeletal dysplasia is first thing to do a biometry to show that the long bones are short, do a systematic survey for pattern recognition, which type, whether rhizomelic, micromelic or mesomelic, associated with what other abnormality in the skull and spine, and then finally decide whether the thorax is so short as not to allow the lungs to develop, determining whether this is a lethal or non-lethal dysplasia. And you will usually be able to come to a reasonable differential that we are first, you will be able to diagnose that there is a skeletal dysplasia. By pattern recognition, a reasonable differential that we might be dealing with this type of skeletal dysplasia, and by looking at the thorax abdominal circumference ratio to tell whether this is a lethal or non-lethal type of prognosis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Gokhale. I think all of we have enjoyed a lot and it will be very helpful for us. The next lecture is on another important and interesting subject, and this is an approach to hydrospitalis. Our last speaker of this part of session is again Professor Liang from Hong Kong. Professor Liang, please.
The title is about the using the hydrops vitalis. Okay, so my approach is to state about the different causes of the hydrops vitalis, and then the mechanism of the brief about the measurement. The hydrops vitalis is actually is a common endpoint of the wide variety of the condition. It is a heterogeneous condition with a high mortality. So there are different the causes. So with the systemic approach, we may be able to identify most of the causes of these hydrops. So by this, you can see this is a hydrop because of the ascites, and also is the fluid diffusion, and the nevus is the NASH, and the heart is NASH, and also this is subcutaneous edema, and then there's a cutaneous edema also here. So you can see that there's no problem in the diagnosis of a hydrop. But the problem is about the causes. So there's different causes that can be anemia, it can be cardiac abnormalities, there can be chromosome abnormality, congenital infection, abnormality of the chest, skeletal, bowel, urinary, or the tumor. The placenta is the problem with tumor, and also umbilical cord problem. The maternal rate is some drug intake that the causing the ductus arteriosus constriction, anemia, diabetes, or something is the low definite cause. For the early detection, the first trimester, you can see the high drops, the big glucose translucency is a small ophthalmic shield. This is the chromosomal anomaly that in the first trimester. The approach to the high drops that is the most important slide. That's about the detailed ultrasound examination and the fetal echo. The major about is the check for the anemia, the lithocerebral artery, physical velocity, cardiovascular ratio, placental thickness, and also the cardiac anomalies, looking at the structural and also the fetal heart rate, and the anomalies of the chest, the neck, and the head, and the skeletal survey bowel, and urinary, and also the assessed chromosome, and then the features of infection, and the tumor, placenta cord, and the liver, Doppler, and the color. So the color is also sometimes the small the arterial venous malformation that we're able to detect using the color. And also the maternal that you check the blood, check in the hemoglobinopathy and the alpha-thalassemia in particular. Then there's also the checking the antibody, vector antibody to causing the hemolytic anemia. And the Gauss test, fetal maternal hemorrhage, another screen for the infection, and the diabetes, and also the maternal drug index, the indolephasin, the constructive ductus arteriosus. So that is the also consider the invasive procedure, the amniocentesis or the cholecentesis to check the fetal blood for the hemoglobin anemia, and then do the karyotyping infections and so on. So sometimes it can be genetic. So because of the it's unusual, because sometimes they may not be able to get the consanguinity, the family trees. When you do the scan, you just calibrus, the cupboard, that is something we see behind, and the data that the polyhydramnios develop that reduce fetal movement, then in practice, and then they end up into a high drop. Can we give to the myotonic dystrophy? This is also too common, and then the mother may have this, the mild in practice, so it's not alert about this, definitely. And the other will be the inborn error of metabolism. So it can still be something of a genetic disorder. So it's very complicated. And the other is the arterial venous malformation. So sometimes it's the arterial malformation in the sacral region. In the sacral coccygeal teratoma is a large one, and then they will be causing the high drops. And it can also be a center for angioma, or in the brain, or in the liver, there will be AV malformation. So we have to be careful in checking all these in the ultrasound examination. So whether to do the amniocentesis with fetal blood sampling, I think this is the that is you're going to check the fetal blood, it is better to do the cholecentesis. So prognosis usually is poor because the mortality is more than 70%, especially if there's a structural anomalies or the oligohydramnios. And then the prognosis is better if you have is caused by anemia, cardiac anemia, then you may be able to treat. And then really that may be spontaneous vessels, just like a placental tumor, maybe just spontaneous vessels, and then the parvovirus, it may be also spontaneous resolution. So management, I think that is more complicated. I'm not to go into details, but it's usually refer to the tertiary center to check for that. So because of the high drop, the mother will also be affected. So we call it the liver syndrome. So the fetus high drop, the mother will also be high drop is the thing of the cancer. It's spreading, and so we should be aware about checking the mother as well. The causes of one of the major causes is fetal anemia. The fetal anemia, in Southeast Asia, that would be the side of is alpha-thalassemia. The other would be the vicious isomerizations, and the popular is more common in the Caucasian. In the parvovirus infection, that the fetal maternal hemorrhage, TCPD deficiency, that in the fetus, with the mother that in the some drug that causes the fetus with the anemia. So in the previous where they were treating anemia polycythemia series. So for the fetal anemia that we essentially check is the lithocerebral artery that is increased. Of course, it's increased slightly. So we check for that. That it's important to check that the doctor is near repaired to the lithocerebral artery, is that you can get the waveform. Because you check the velocity, that you have to repair it. Otherwise, it's the underestimation. So the guidelines about how to actually check for that, basically just is a parallel, magnified, and then the static, and then the no movement. And then to get the transfusion, then this is fetal anemia, then of course you can treat the blood, but this is very highly technical demanding. So this is the coepicentesis. This is usually when we get in that, this is the upper cord, this is the placenta, this is a needle inside the cord, and then we have aspirate the blood and also get it. So this is how we do the coepicentesis. So because coepicentesis really has a high risk of having the transfusion, having a lot of complication, few noise, and then the tachycardia. So nowadays we can possible we can use ultrasound to detect the fetal anemia. So the major thing is about the placental thickness, cardiomegaly, and the middle cerebral artery dogma. These are the three major things to check for the fetal anemia. That this is the cardiovascular ratio. There's some asked about before how to measure it. That the cardiovascular ratio, we use these transverse diameters over the AV valve, that the blood in this, and then the largest diameter, of course, the chest. This is the transthoracic, and then we've got the ratio. So this one is 0.45. Between eye-boring, that is also you can see it's normal, less than the half depth. Some will also use the circumference. So just the circumference over here, and then also circumference over here, and then you got the ratio. This is the connection of the preference of using this. So this is actually the larger, you can see the eyeball is a larger cardiomegaly. We measure this is the ratio over this ratio. It is at 0.58. It's more than 0.5. It is increased in this figures. So you know that even in the first trimester, sometimes if you compare it, you can also see it. You can see the access eyeball. This is time is enlarged. You can also see some infusion over here. This is the in terms of the cardiomegaly. And you can see the large heart and so on. Okay, the placental thickness that the measure is in the perpendicular fraction. So how can you see that this is the perpendicular? You can see this linear echo. So you can see the linear echo here. This means that the transfusion is perpendicular. So and then they can measure it and this, and then you can get so this is a case of a parvovirus. In fact, before in the routine scan about 18 weeks, that the cardiomegaly has hepatomegaly, and then the high MCPSP, and then the kind of the anemia due to the parvovirus. So the other is the fetal maternal hand ratio. We also check blood, and then to maternal blood, and then to see whether there's any fetal cells over here. And then this is another case of a high drop due to the large cystic adenomatoid formation of lung. You can see it's a very large cystic, and then the nearly occupies the whole intestine. And then this got the subcutaneous edema. This is a high drop, and then this is a large cyst, and then a high drop. So we can aspirate this. So we can see that now this needle in. So we try to aspirate it and get into this, and then puncture through the ultrasound guide, and then puncture to the uterus, and now into the fetus. And then the dish is going into the cyst, and then after the cyst, then we get a shunt from the cyst and then to the emergent fluid. So this kind of a shunt that we can really put in and then to drain. That is a high job. So the idea that the resolution, then the afterbirth, that the after surgery, this is a baby that it seems to be okay. And then the other things about this is a full occlusion. You can see a full occlusion, compressed chest, and then it also cause high drop. So in this case, 34 weeks that we deliver at the time, and the baby is still okay after the delivery. So this is another case of a high drop. You can see the polyhydramnios, and then the bowel is the dilated. So in the first trimester, and then there's a meconium ascites. The afterbirth term, then you can see that the surgery, this is huge. This is not the abdomen, this is not the maternal, this is the fetus. The baby afterbirth, that is a huge because of the massive meconium ascites. So another thing about is the vascular tumor. So it can be in the fetus, that the sacrococcygeal tumor, to be careful about checking the fetus, get the color, and then this is a huge one that they get, and then they got the high drops, and then they also have the preeclampsia. The mother developed preeclampsia, so it's the Muir syndrome, that they also have the mother to get it. So other birds you can see there's a large, actually there's a larger than the baby, and it's a quite huge sacral constituent movement. And also sometimes the placenta cholangioma is also can cause that. So we have to look at the placenta to see whether there's any placenta vasculation as well. So cardiac arrhythmia is another cause that you have to check for that. If the heart is not beating well, then we do echo to the level of the cardiac arrhythmia. So for the tree that sometimes can also be one tree is high dog due to the changing transfusion syndrome or the tree anemia with the sarcopenia sequence. So this can also be a problem about that, but this is more complicated. So that we can think about that. So sometimes when we do that is the procedure, we can use the ultrasound, guided, and then the procedure, and then for that. So in conclusion, I think that the problem is the high job is more complicated. It's likely to refer to the Treasury Center for assessment, and that because some condition may be amenable to the treatment, and then also the early diagnosis of the causes because of different causes, anemia, tumors, and so on. So even though you may not be able to treat, but you can think about the cause, and then whether it is recurrent. So next time that determine again that how can we reduce or manage prevent this kind of problem again. DD scan, check the MCPS week, the nuclear artery is important for the anemia. It's not whether it's treatable, and then it's not monitoring, and also the fetus and the mother, because it can be a high drop in the fetus. So it's been that you can refer to the genetics and then the autopsy. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Bhuiyan, for your nice lecture on hydroxypedalis. Now again, patient and possession. And it will be demonstrated by Professor Bhuiyan and Gokletis, and will be assisted by Dr. Sabrina Kiroshid, Professor Shankar Vishwas, and Dr. Maria Parveen. Let's learn and enjoy the patient and possession.